The Polish-Ukrainian relationship, summarized by Nikocado Avocado. We're getting help. Why we can't save our marriage. We're saving our marriage. Why we can't break up. We're breaking up. I don't know what's going on, but it sure is entertaining. You know what the best part about this is? You realize where Nikocado was born? It's almost a little bit too perfect. Which fight will trigger Article 5 of NATO first? Will it be Poland versus Russia? The US versus China? Or Canada versus India? One is not like the others. I didn't even realize that technically that could trigger Article 5. Those are the last two countries I'd even expect. Australians have accidentally been eating a fish unknown to science. Thank goodness. Usually it's the other way around. Fish unknown to science is eating Australians. Just a normal day in this country. Visit Australia, where there's stuff that bites the heads off crocodiles. I can't even imagine a better tourism slogan. Sign me up. Where are you from? Europe. What nation? The EU. What citizenship do you have? EU citizen. The best part about this is this conversation could have actually happened in the Halo universe. The European Union is a known entity in Halo lore. I like to imagine this conversation is happening every day. What country's food is best? Perhaps a croquette? Or cookies, maybe? A nice pie, maybe? Or is it sausage? Maybe even chocolate on bread? Haha, you have been fooled. It's all actually glorious Dutch food. Yeah, I kind of already saw this coming. I knew the US didn't come up with this. As an American, the first time I ever had anything like this was when I visited the Netherlands last year, and they were bomb. Honestly, I have to admit, the Dutch do have pretty underrated cuisine, in my opinion, that is. Asian soup spoons are so much better for the task of soup, it's nuts. Western soup spoons are awful. The West is clearly unserious about the way it consumes soup. I mean, it is like we're kind of not even trying with this thing. What is this going to do, honestly? I could literally slurp up the entire galaxy with this utensil. Rice with egg. Meh. How about rice with egg, but Japan? Nani? Why does it look so much more appealing? I don't understand. This looks terrible. China reveals their new military camo. When you order a new uniform for your army, but your language uses the same word for blue and green. Ah, so that's how this happens. Honestly, it does look pretty cool though. I just don't know how useful it'll be for camo. France, India, and the USA all on their side of the tug of war, getting aided by Iran and Russia? And they're fighting on the other side, the EU, Israel, Turkey, and Ukraine. Huh? How did we end up here? This is referencing the Azerbaijan-Armenian conflict. Clearly, it's getting pretty complicated. Me trying to read anything related to military structure and deployment. What does it all mean? I mean, I have seen some of these shapes before, though. It's as complicated as like reading music. Can be done. You just need a lot of practice. Why did India rename their whole country after a fictional character? Are they really that big of a fan of Borat? Maybe it's to get closer ties with Kazakhstan. Meanwhile, we have little old Canada versus giant India. America's trying their best to hold them back. Wait. Oh, okay, there you go, buddy. And here they are back at it again. That's probably for the best. Have you seen India or Bharat? New Russian master plan. We will give our officers so many medals that they will be fully armed against cruise missile fire. They're gonna be pretty much impervious out here, like a modern day shield of armor. Breaking! British Prime Minister is planning to make every child study English and maths until they're 18. The UK public, can you not be an absolute explicitive for 5 minutes? Okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I studied English and math until I was 18, but I didn't actually. I don't think we were required to the last like year or two of high school. Math I get, but isn't the British already perfect at English? Do they really need more years to study that? What country's poop is the worst? Is it Bulgaria's potholes? The Hungarian government? Maybe not speaking the same language like the Swiss? Or a colonial past like from Portugal? Perhaps absolutely ugly cities like in Germany? Haha, you have been fooled again! It's all poop and it's all Belgian. With their moon surface potholes, 6 governments, 3 languages, no explanation needed for the Belgian Congo, and whatever this city's got going on. I feel like the biggest one that gave it away was Portugal's colonization. No one talks about Portugal's colonization. There's just some places that seem to get a pass for all that. Nobody cares about Portugal and even the Netherlands' colonial history. France and Germany fights for 2 decades, want to exterminate one another, and started 2 world wars, brutally occupies one another. Also, France and Germany immediately after. They're pretty much just in one of those really toxic relationships where it gets physical and they probably should break up, but they still love each other. How to make a perfect Europe. We're starting with a Finnish education system, Spanish siesta, Italian food, German efficiency, French nuclear power, and finally, that last one, I don't know about. Maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but not so much anymore. Spain when the UK occupies Gibraltar. Meanwhile, Spain when itself occupies ports in Morocco. Oh, well, that's different. But you better give us back Gibraltar. It's funny because one of the 2 Spanish-occupied territories is literally right next to Gibraltar. This is my neighbor, Poland. He is pain in my ass. I get red stripe on my flag. He gets red stripe on his flag. I get white stripe on my flag. He gets white stripe on his flag. I get blue triangle. He cannot afford. Talk about a great success. Gotta admit, that blue triangle is pretty epic. And without it, the world would just have another white and red stripped flag. We really do not need any more of those. Like, honestly, the world has gotta stop. Laundering state money like a professional? Nah, how about putting it in your own bank account and buying a $26,000 bottle of whiskey? I guess this is average Slovak politician here. Transylvania is ours, says Romania. Then why aren't you taking care of it? Responds Hungary. Ah, good point, I guess. Honestly, these debates will never end. And this is probably why the council has decided you may claim one region from your neighboring country as your own. Okay, seriously, how often is the council just giving this away? Y'all need to be a little bit more careful with this power. Americans calling them cookies. Brits calling them biscuits. Meanwhile, Australians calling them bickies. I don't know what that means, bickies, but it does kind of flow. Why am I just now hearing about this?
Bicky.
What's a biscuit? Why isn't the definition biscuit or cookie? Maybe it's because I'm in Spain. Which country's food is best? Perhaps the omelet? Or is it the curry? Is it this French thing? Or the hamburger beefsteak? Another croquette? Spaghetti from Italy? Or this from Spain? Oh, what a surprise, we've been fooled. It's all glorious Japan. No! They got us again. This food didn't look that impressive to me, but now that you're saying it's coming out of Japan, nani. I don't know why I used that word there. Man rescued after being lost in IKEA for 12 days. 12 days and he's still alive? A disoriented shopper was rescued on Thursday after being lost for nearly 2 weeks in an IKEA's near the border of Luxembourg. I'm not surprised he was lost for like 48 hours. I've almost been lost in an IKEA for 48 hours. But 12 days? It sounds like it started off like he was gonna just try to live in an IKEA for like a week and then he started to slowly lose his mind. He ended up getting lost the last 5. This is random, but I recently saw the smallest IKEA store I've ever seen out in Spain. This is not it, this is just a picture, but I didn't realize that they have some stores where you can't get lost for like 12 hours inside. Eastern Europe MFers after getting more % on their English exam than on their national language one. Talk about mission successful. Is it really that much more important? Apparently the English exam is just a lot easier. Ooh, a Nordic chart. If they appear friendly and are genuinely friendly, then you're talking to a Dane or a Greenlander, but if they appear friendly and is genuinely unfriendly, you're talking to a Swede. If they appear unfriendly, but they are actually friendly, you're talking to an Icelander or a Norwegian. And finally, if they appear unfriendly and are actually unfriendly, you're talking to a Finn. I think we all could have predicted this one. I don't think anyone's surprised. If you ever feel stupid, just remember that George Bush was told that 4 Brazilian people were oofed. Why I say it's so weird. And he asked, how many is a Brazilian? It's definitely in between a billion and a zillion. Probably comes after a zillion, maybe? Now watch this drive. POV, you are the Chinese Coast Guard. On one hand, you had a Canadian warship you tried to bully because it was in your territory, but it turns out that was actually an American warship that you misidentified. That is pretty much the most perfect comparison. Canada really is the equivalent of this. Unconsolidated Italy, ew. Unconsolidated Germany, even more ew. Finally, unconsolidated Europe. I think this post was brought to us by EU Gang. Honestly though, it's really hard to compete with the Holy Roman Empire borders. This is just disgusting. So much worse. Every time I look at an accurately mapped out Holy Roman Empire, I think this is someone's entire life's work. There's no way this didn't take like at least 70 years to complete. When the UK refuses to recognize that Brexit was a mistake, here are the Brexit consequences, and here is the UK. Stop, it's painful. Meanwhile, the EU just chilling inside. UK notices that they're just chilling inside. This is still better. I don't really even know what's going on with the UK in this. I feel like I don't see too many memes about it from them. When you skip passport control at the airport because you're in Schengen. Did I finally pronounce that correctly, I hope?
Schengen zone.
Okay, yes. As an American, that must be nice. How do you obtain this power? Flag of Italy, but I added the Mexican coat of arms to celebrate Spanish Heritage Month. Man, this looks awfully familiar. Where have I seen it before? Yo, no way. Jesse is Bulgarian? Big Chungus agrees. Finally, we have an answer for why Jesse is Jesse. Big Bulgaria. Just a normal day. The Portuguese, the French, the Spanish, the Germans, the Greeks, the Italians, the Swedes, the Belgians. Meanwhile, this Dutch man. This doesn't even look real. I'm like trying to think, is this some sort of forced projection? But no, I already know it's not. They're just built differently up there. They have to be super tall just in case the levees break and the water comes back. That's always what I've heard. Countries with the most native German speakers. 78 million in Germany, not surprised. 8 million in Austria, again, not surprised. 4.5 in Brazil, and they're actually beating out Switzerland. Then we have America and Italy. Then there's, wait a minute. Why are there so many German speakers in Argentina? And they're actually beating out, Canada. Very curious. When did this Latin American country get 0.4 million? Was it some point in the 40s? And to be honest, let's not forget the other elephant in the room. Did Brazil get some of those as well? Because there's a lot of evidence that Brazil got a lot of it as well, but we just focus on Argentina usually. Of all the countries with native German speakers, didn't expect them to pop up, that's for sure. Here we have Tennessee workers collecting dew from the mountains. This is actually one of their #1 exports. If you ever wanted to know how they come up with this favorite soda of ours, this is how gamers get their fuel. So thank you, Tennessee, man, because they're coming from them mountains. This is my neighbor, California, says Texas. He's a pain. I have history as Republic. He has history as Republic. I have major companies. He has major companies. I have brisket. He does not. Great success. I guess we don't really have... there are like Texas and Southern barbecue places in California, and I love it, by the way, because I love brisket. But yeah, the Texas brisket's a lot better. How about the reverse? California says, this is my neighbor. He is a pain. I have Las Vegas for gambling. He has Oklahoma for gambling. I have Hawaii for tropical vacation. He has Mexico for tropical vacation. I have Hollywood as major cultural influencer. He has nothing. Great success. I don't even think he needs to have Hollywood though, because most foreigners, when they think of an American, they image a Texan in their mind. They don't even need to make movies or anything like that. And big thanks to my patrons. Destiny Ducker 9000. Sebi, if you hear this, subscribe to Drew now.
I am the kidnapper.
aPhatNarwhal. Carmel
since
S.
no one pays
InquisitorXarius. KirinoIsBestGirl. Luxembourg 567. Robert
E.
RyeThePie.
TheGreatRalphy.
The Mexican
Wicked Hamster.
760. JohnDenver.
GoodOldRyah.
and
Dad.
Jack Traven's annoying friend.
And why am I doing this?